And we're live.
Hey everyone, it's Lennis Woods Mullins on the Wellness Woman Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's always wonderful to be with you. And as you can see, I've got my turtleneck on. We went from strapless in some cases, or t-shirts and spaghetti strap tops to velvet and turtleneck and head wraps and all that because it is cold in California today. A lot of people think that in California it's always sunny, and it is sunny, but it is really cold out there. So I am ready for the cold weather. I'm wondering what's going on in your world today. We're getting ready to approach the holidays. And of course, that means a lot of things to a lot of different people. One thing that we probably all have in common when it comes to the holidays is the idea that it's extra added stress, extra added responsibility, extra added things to do. How do you get through all of that and still take good care of yourself and have some fun? I mean, the whole idea of the holidays and spending time with friends and family shouldn't be so stressful that you don't get a chance to have fun. So today we're going to be talking about that. I'm so glad that we have with us today Theresa Cloud Eagle. She has a fantastic bio. Basically, she is an author, a transformational speaker and trainer, and she specializes in helping those who take care of others make sure they take care of themselves. She is passionate about it. She has a wonderful program called Soul Success Minutes for Caregivers, and also Nurturing Soul Success for Conscious Living. It's a podcast that's coming in December, and it's all about making sure that we as caregivers, and of course most women are caregivers, we're not taking care of someone sick, we're taking care of someone well, our families, our husbands, our friends, our parents, our children, all those things we're doing all the time. And many times we forget to make sure we're taking care of ourselves. So welcome, Theresa, to the Wellness Woman Show. It's so wonderful to have you. Tell us, why are you so passionate about the concept of self-care?
The passion comes from, I'm a mother and a wife myself, and just observing and paying attention to other people who have been in my environment. My mother, my sisters, friends, relatives, other women who take care of others, and we always seem to put ourselves, excuse me, to the back burner. And we're the ones who really need that break and me time to recharge and rejuvenate, refill our cups as we are taking care of others. And so I've seen people just deteriorate in health because of that fact. And so in a sense, it's like taking your own power back when you stop, refresh, rejuvenate, recharge, so that you can be prepared to take care of other people.
And I think that's a wonderful goal to have. But the reality is that so many women don't have it as a goal even. Never mind whether or not we actually achieve the goal or not, but some of it, we're not even on our own list. Right. So how can we do that? How can we relearn that poor programming? Because I think it's something that women program themselves, or maybe they program from observing their mothers or their grandmothers or other women in their lives that haven't necessarily taken the time to take care of themselves. How do we begin to start making sure that we're on that list and that we do take up our time for ourselves?
Well, the first thing is to recognize that that is what is going on and accept it for what it is. If we don't acknowledge that we are having a problem, then we have a problem. We have an issue with doing something about that problem. And so the first step is to recognize that you need care. I'm sure you have felt mood swings and burnt out to the degree that everybody is kind of dumping on you. Mom, can you do this? Sis, can you do that? Wife, I need a shirt iron. What are we having for dinner? Can we take the kids to the football game or the son to the football game? Can we take the daughter to dance class? All of those food shopping, clothes shopping. We got to get some shoes for the kids. Then we throw in there, if we're working, okay, then we have our bosses and deadlines to deal with. And so if those are happening in your life and you're just being pulled in all kinds of directions, that's time to say, whoa, wait a minute, let me step back here and, see how I can gain more control over my particular situation. And just because you do that, you are not ignoring those people who are in your life. You are just setting yourself up as a priority. I always say, when mom is happy, everybody else is happy. So you have to acknowledge that this is what you need so that you can be more effective in taking care of other people as a result of you taking care of yourself.
What are some, and I so agree with you, and you're preaching to the choir here because that was my life until I decided to make some changes for my own self care.
Uh-huh.
And, I want to tell women too that entering into self care, and it is a process, it's a journey. You're entering into a new journey, a new phase of a way of thinking. Doesn't mean that you also enter into selfishness. It's not about that.
No.
But it definitely is not about selflessness, also. You want to find a happy medium. We're not
Right.
saying that, you take care of yourself in lieu of taking care of your other responsibilities. We're just saying is recognizing that taking care of yourself makes you even better to be able to take care of your other responsibilities. So, given that, what are some of the strategies that you tell women that can help them take better care of themselves?
Well, one thing you can do, it doesn't take a lot. We think we have to put aside a whole chunk of time to take care of ourselves, but we can do it in bits here and bits there. Um, if you get up early in the morning, you know, take a couple of, because I used to do this when I was in corporate America. I got up earlier than everybody else and I did my meditation time. And that helped me to center and be prepared for the rest of my day. Um, if you cannot do that, then once everyone is out of the house, or you're even at work, and I have done this, you can go into the restroom for some privacy and just sit in there and breathe for a bit, just to center yourself. That's just one of the things. Go out and walk around, at your lunch hour or on your break. Um, Take a few minutes and read a book, something that inspires you, maybe a page or two. You can go in and having lunch with a girlfriend, with no one else, no kids, no husband, around, and just spend that, one-on-one time with your girlfriends. Those are some of the types of things that you can do. In addition, I said acknowledge. Part of it is changing your thought processes and how you view things. That, I think, is one of the most important pieces of this. If we begin to see that this is important for me and my well being, I call it self love. And so, if you give yourself some self love and acknowledge that, then your thoughts begin to change how you view self care. Um, Women are exercising. A lot of us exercise. That's a form of self care because you're off doing something for yourself and filling your cup. If you even go to the hair salon, to get beautified, if you go and get a manicure, if you go and get a massage, those are self care, pieces of self care. So your thoughts, if you entertain those thoughts long enough, then that will create a new habit and a new way of thinking. So then your behaviors start to change as a result of that. Once your behaviors start to change, then um, your habit, they become habits that you begin to incorporate in your life. And as I understand it, and some people may think of it differently, but I say if you do something for 21 days, that 22nd day is when the habit is more ingrained in you. And so if you're picking up something and you do it consistently, then that new thought pattern becomes a habit. And there's a few other things: setting boundaries, to know when to say no, and it's okay to say no. If we're talking about the holidays and those that's coming up, and so that means we're going home, or people are coming over to our house, ask for assistance, ask for help. We don't have to cook the whole dinner by ourselves. Ask someone to bring a dish, you know, ask someone to bring the drinks. Mm-hmm. Kind of, divvy it out. Don't feel like you have to do everything yourself. People are more than happy to assist you. It's just that we got to be open to receive that assistance.
All of these tips are so good and so relevant. And I think a lot of them are things that we all know, but we sometimes lack the inspiration or the motivation to do them because we feel so overwhelmed already. And the idea of even taking better care of ourselves, like taking time to go to the hairdresser or getting our nails done or even taking that walk, it seems overwhelming. And I realize that it requires a paradigm shift.
Yes,
in order to do that, because the reality is you really do have the time. It's all about your perception of what you view as important. And when you really begin to take a look at how you spend your time, you'll be surprised that you do have some downtime moments there. There are some things going on there. And there's also some things that you're doing that maybe you really don't have to do. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Is it really okay to say no?
When you say no, you're saying yes to yourself. I say look at a few things in your process of coming up with that no. Can that person do it for themselves? Does that person, even though you might be going in that direction, does that person always call on you to do something that they could do for themselves and just don't feel like doing it? But because you're always, saying no, then you're always saying yes, then that person is always going to come to you and ask you to do that particular thing. Is it a person, if it's a child and they can put their pants on, instead of you putting them on, let that child do that. You're building their skill set when you allow that to happen. When you say no to someone who is an adult, a teenager, and they are healthy and able to do those things, you're allowing them to build their responsibility and character so that they can take care of themselves in this world. We're not always going to be here to do things for other people. And one of the things I like to say is that there's a couple things that's going through my mind.
Well, go ahead, share.
Yeah. If you continue to say yes to everything, your stress levels just continue to escalate higher and higher and higher. And so the goal is to lessen the stress that you are feeling in your life. If you do not, your body is going to start revealing its displeasure with you treating it the way you are treating it. And so where we are always helping other people, then we will be down. Well, we'll need somebody to help us. Will those people be there for you when you need them if you don't take care of yourself and say no to them and say yes to yourself?
That is such a profound thought process and way of thinking of things, because the reality is that many times when we need help, the very people that we've helped in the past are not the ones that we would normally think of. Exactly. When it comes to, it's always somebody else. It seems that the universe seems to send you. So when you're doing things for other people, you better do it because you're doing it from the goodness of your heart, not because you're expecting anything in return. Yes. If you're at a place where it's not feeling good to do it, then don't do it. Guaranteed, they'll find a solution. There'll be a way that they'll be able to solve that problem. Quiet as it's kept, we are not the end all or be all. The majority of the problems of the ones that we love, believe it or not. And I have to attest to that because I am guilty of the same thing. I've got 4 daughters, and they're now all approaching 30s. One's over 30, and I have 3 grandchildren. Well, my ability to meet the needs has grown over the years. I started out with one, then two, then three children. Now I've got four daughters, three. That's seven people.
Yes.
Seven people. Not to mention my husband, my friends, my father, my sisters. That's a lot of folks on my bandwidth. And what happens with the bandwidth, when it comes to the digital age, when you have a really long, thick bandwidth, and the quality of your end product, people being able to see and hear you on the internet is really, really good. But when your bandwidth gets stretched like that and strained, after a while, no one can hear anything that you're saying, anything that you're doing, and your message doesn't get across. It's the same thing with our lives. When your bandwidth starts to get really, really stretched, the quality of what you're doing, with all the quantity of what you're doing, is lost. And it's all for naught. And guess who gets in trouble for that?
Yes, that's right.
So therefore, instead of trying to be that whole superwoman thing, I ain't no superwoman, that whole song. Like, definitely during the holidays, start taking a look at your boundaries and the things that are the things that you feel very strongly about that you want to do or that you must do, and those other things that you know that you really don't have to do. What do you think about that?
Well, one of the things that because family brings in a whole different dynamic during the holidays. And sometimes, our friends are our family, so it applies to them too. So I have a list of some things to really pay attention to during the holidays. Of course, asking for that assistance, for the meals. And do some breaths. When you feel yourself, that pressure escalating, take some deep breaths to calm yourself back down, because they're only going to be in your space. If it's a difficult person, they're only going to be in your space a short amount of time compared to the rest of the year. Okay. And so you can really just don't get snappy, because that escalates the situation. Be the bigger person and stay calm, and think of more kind words that you can say. And before responding to something that's been negatively said to you or that has pinched you, take a breath, count to 10, count to 5 even, before you respond. Also, I think during the course of the holidays, because that's when we bring out, the alcoholic beverages, reduce the amount of alcohol that you put in your system, because that throws you out of kilter as well, off balance chemically. And so therefore, the mind starts to express some things that otherwise wouldn't express.
Right.
Make sure you get plenty of sleep, during the course of this time. Make sure you're continuing to eat, healthy. It's okay to taste some of the sweetness, the good things that we want, but also make sure you're eating, a good amount of healthy food as well. I'd say manage your time. Maybe get if you're cooking. Here we coming up on Thanksgiving and Christmas. If you are having everybody come into your house and you're cooking, you can start ahead of time preparing your dishes, so that, and freeze them and then bring them out, for the holiday, so you're not pressured to try and get everything done on that day. Those are some of the things I think are kind of key and pivotal during this holiday time, as folks come into your space that, you may not get along with very well. And to prevent that, don't get yourself out of kilter.
Right.
Keep yourself calm. Let them be them, but you be the bigger person during all of this.
And there's something else I wanted to say too. As our families change, the dynamics change. Your children aren't living at home anymore. You have grandchildren, and some of the people that used to be around are no longer around, either through death or they've moved or you just lost contact. It really is okay for you to begin to take a look at changing some of your traditions that you used to hold so dear to, because sometimes trying to hold on to those traditions can be stressful. They're no longer realistic. The idea of my trying to give my 4 daughters who are grown the same kind of Christmas I gave them when they were kids at home is, in a word, crazy. And then adding my grandchildren to that, it's in a word, ridiculous. So therefore, and if you're beginning to feel kind of guilty about it, whatever, what you do is you use your words, as I tell my 2-year-old grandson all the time, use your words, communicate to your family. This year, this is what I'm going to be able to do.
Yes.
This is what I feel comfortable doing. And guess what? When you reset their expectations, because your family, bottom line, they do love you, your friends, they love you, they'll be like, oh, no problem, girl. I understand that. That's fine, Mom. We didn't want to do that anyway. You'd be surprised because many of these things we build up in our minds.
Yeah.
Is what we have to do because that's the expectation.
That's
when in
right.
reality, that expectation was set or perpetrated and continued by us.
Yes.
So therefore, let yourself off the hook. Take a look at the things that you've done over the years, and then decide how important is it really when it comes to your overall enjoyment of the holidays, your goals in terms of things you want to do with your family, and number one, how it relates to your ability to take good care of you.
Yes, that is so very true. Because we've gone through some of the same things as you. We have 2 children and 4 grandchildren. There's 6 years difference between our children, so we have almost like 2 separate families. However, it worked out for us because when the older set of children were young, we were able to devote our time to them as far as the holidays were concerned. And so now that they're older, we can devote our time to our younger set of grandchildren. But it changed. We changed because we went over to the younger family's home and they were creating their own traditions. So I had to let my tradition go because, we wanted to just be open and receptive to what they wanted to build and have their children and their family experience. And it's okay because that really means we're lightening our own load and our own responsibilities because we're allowing other people to take over where we used to always pitch in and do everything. So, yeah, just, your boundaries, it's okay to set them up, and limit yourself so that other people can come in and fill in. Like you said, they're more than happy to do that. They're just waiting for us to step back because they don't want to hurt our feelings.
Right, exactly. Many of the things that we are doing that we think are so important, they don't think about until you actually start doing them. They're like, oh yeah, that's fun. But if you were to take it away, you'd be surprised how many things they don't miss. And another thing when it comes to stress and the holidays and our own self-care and expectations, you mentioned some key things, but I want to remind everybody else because of everything that's going on. She was talking about minimizing the alcohol, which is important, but also increase your fluids in general. And I don't mean increase it by drinking more eggnog and juice. Water.
Yes.
More water with lemon. That's so important. Lemon is an energizer and it also helps to detoxify your liver. It's a gentle detox, but you need that hydration because it really does help you think more clearly, if for no other reason. You know that brain fog that people talk about? Especially as we age, as we get older, we get the brain fog. But if you've got that, if you're drinking that water, it really does help you with your thought processes because the brain is 90% water.
Yes.
So it makes so much sense to make sure that you do that. I can tell you, you'll begin to tell when you're dehydrated. Of course, you get cotton mouth, you might feel tired, and you think you're hungry even after you know you've already eaten. Those are all signs. Instead of maybe going and grabbing a cracker when you feel a little hungry, drink some water with lemon. And I bet you some of those cravings will go away. During the holidays, you're around all kinds of, like as you mentioned, goodies and sweets and chocolates and all that kind of stuff. So I have a tip for you. Go ahead, eat that chocolate, okay? But try this. Try just a small cube of dark chocolate. Try that. And then put the dark chocolate, don't chew it, put it underneath your tongue. Okay. Ooh. And it will immediately get into the bloodstream. That magnesium, potassium that you're really ultimately needing, that's why you're craving that chocolate, will get into your system that much more and you will feel better. but also it will also cut some of those cravings. You don't have as many calories absorbed as a result of chewing a bunch of chocolate. You put it underneath the tongue, it gets absorbed that much more quickly. Now, you might want a second chocolate of dark chocolate, but most people, if it's dark, 76% coca at least. Okay, 76% coca. Now, this isn't real sweet chocolate, but it will get rid of that craving for other things that you know aren't good for you. It will give you some energy, and it will also help adjust your blood sugar levels, especially during the holidays. So, if you want to have chocolate during the holidays, I suggest make it worth your time. Get some of that. A small cube of dark chocolate, put it underneath your tongue, and you will not only feel better, but you'll have more energy. And you may probably grab that second caramel apple and all the other stuff that's out there that you think you might want to eat. Just one of my tips that has really made a big difference for me. There was something else I was going to ask you about. I know that you have a wonderful program, Theresa, called the Soul Success System. What is that?
The Soul Success System is really made up of 10 main strategies that we go through to help people. Really, it has to do with living consciously. So those strategies, we focus on our language, which I look at as our thoughts and our words. Then we lay a foundation so that we can deal with setting goals to carry out the plan, which includes affirmations, setting how to set boundaries and say no. We have what's called control dramas. Well, we don't see them as control dramas, but they are. And so what they are in your life and what impact that they have had in your development from childhood to adulthood, and why you keep attracting certain types of people. So that would help you diffuse and change some of your habits and behaviors. We also address our fitness and nutrition, just a lot of different things, meditation, affirmations, a lot of different things to allow you to be more in control of your life manifestations instead of being caught up in the whole universal mind, universal consciousness movement. You can recognize when you are following the crowd and cut that cord and create your own path. So with these things, it also helps you to be less stressful, how to being able to manage that, because you are making the decisions. You're not allowing someone else to make those decisions for you. And when you are, making your own decisions, then you are taking responsibility for what your life looks like. And you won't play the blame, shame, and guilt game to other people, saying that you're making my life this way, but it's all your responsibility. So I'm really giving the tools to the client so that they can live more consciously, live more in the now, be their most powerful, true self, to make a difference not only in their lives but in the world, or in their immediate environment. So that's what we address in the Soul Success System. Our souls and success, we don't realize that the soul really is the power of the mind, the power of the intellect. And once we are able to harness that, then we're able to be more successful in all of the other areas that we desire to be in our lives.
And I love that concept, because the reality is that so many things all come together to create one cohesive way of living. That's why I really truly believe in the mind, body, and spirit. We have to take good care of our minds, our bodies, and our spirit, or our soul. Yes. And if anything of that is off in that continuum, then we're not well. If you really want to approach wellness, doing something like the Soul Success System is a way to do that. Now, for people who are interested in finding out more about this system and the other programs that you have, where should they go?
they should visit my website, which is Theresa, and I spell my name Theresa, cloudeagle.com. The clouds in the sky and the eagle that soars.
Okay.
But all of those things are on my website. There's, articles and my products, aromatherapy scents, all of that you'll find on the website.
Fantastic. Theresa, thank you so much for being on the Wellness Woman Show with us today. I think the topic we discussed is so important. And for those of you who just happen to have joined us live, please go back and listen to the show because there's just some wonderful tidbits of great strategies that you can do right now today, begin doing that are simple to do that will help re-energize you and help you to kind of renew your spirit and your mind and your body as we head towards the holidays. And remember, you can also find out more about me and the services I provide at praiseworks.biz. Just go to praiseworks.biz or Google Lennis Woods Mullins, and all kinds of things will pop up, my blogs, my other shows. Don't forget to tune in to What's Inside You, Mind, Body, Energy on the America Out Loud Network. We debut new shows every Thursday. Thanks so much to Rachel Love and her wonderful network. And thank you, Theresa Nelson, for being a guest on the show today. This is Lennis from the Wellness Woman Show. We'll see you again next time.
You've been watching Wellness Woman here on New Earth International.